Hello YouTube, it is Raphael here from xxRafael Productions, and in this video we are going to be dealing with collisions in Unity, okay? So, going off of what I have right now, I have coded this white block to move around. I'm going to load up Visual Studio so you can see the code. I also have a video on how to start moving your characters as well, so that will be in the description below. So this has already been dealt with in terms of the character moving, but what we want to do is make it so that if we collide with these two blocks over here, we want something to happen if we collide. So far nothing else happens, so we have dealt with the movement already. And let's go ahead and go to the player and see which I've already set up. So I've already created a script. If you have not done that yet, simply go create a new script, C# script, and then go ahead and add the component. And you should find scripts and add in the script you have created. So in my case, I've already created a script called script for player, so I don't have to do that again. But if you haven't already, do that right now, and then we're gonna go ahead and I guess the way you want this to collide, you don't have to do it exactly the way I do it. Like the way I want mine to collide is if I move my character and collide with it. Your code may be different, but the collision method will remain the same. So don't worry about this right now, because that is simply me dealing with the character to move, okay? Before we actually go ahead and input code, we're gonna go ahead and first deal with a few components in our players and obstacle, okay? So I'm gonna right click on the player and I'm gonna add in a new component. And this will be a Rigidbody 2D. Now, since we're dealing with a 2D project, we're gonna do Rigidbody 2D, and also a box collider. Make sure you have the box collider 2D as well. You guessed it. But before we change anything here, let me show you what will happen if I load the program. Okay, so I'm gonna click play to run, and if you notice, our character falls down automatically. Okay, so the fix is very simple. Let's go back to player, which is going to be the white block we are trying to move, and we're gonna go to gravity scale and simply change that to 0. Alright, so if you go ahead and play again, it will no longer be a problem. So now, as to actually dealing with the program, oops, Visual Studio update, let me close that. I don't need to update for now. Okay, so let's go ahead and since we've only added these for the player, let's also add the same thing for the obstacles. So since these two are pretty much the same, let's go ahead and, if you're on a Mac, command click, so that we can alter both of these at the same time without having to do it one by one, okay? For both of them, we will add in a component, box collider 2D, and also a, like I said earlier, Rigidbody 2D. So we'll add for both. And for both of them, we will also disable the gravity. So 0. Just to confirm that it has added both of them successfully, navigate to both obstacles, and you should see if both of them have the components added. And if it does, well, that's good. So let's go ahead and play. Let's go ahead and touch this. And if you notice, now that we have added a box collider, it is actually it is gonna see that what it's colliding with, and also it is actually moving along with it. Now, since we have successfully done this, let's go ahead and look at our console. Now, what we want to happen is that if we are colliding with our obstacle, we want something to print in our console. So let's go ahead and click stop, and that is actually very simple to add. So let's go back to our script now. Go to our player and click on the script you had created. Assuming you have created a script already, click on it. That should simply bring you to either Visual Studio or MonoDevelop. In my case, I am using Visual Studio for this. And we're gonna add in a built-in a method right here. It's gonna be called onCollisionEnter. So it's gonna be private void onCollisionEnter 2D. And that should auto-generate the block right here, okay? So anything that we're gonna put here, this is where we're gonna code our console to output a output a string, okay? So what we're gonna do, before we do that though, we have to give these two obstacles an ID. Well, you can say tag. In Unity, it's called tags. The reason why we're doing this, let me go ahead and type it in on the code just to remind ourselves. We want our obstacles. Yeah. Okay, so I kind of made myself a comment here. This is actually good programming practice. You should make a comment so that you can also remind yourselves in what particular code is supposed to do. And I guess it's just good practice if you're like working in a team and you want someone else to also work on your code. They have kind of a reference for the code. So we want our obstacles to have a tag so that Unity can detect the tag names and act accordingly. So what this means is we are going to add in a tag. So go back to our obstacle 1, click on tag, and you can also click add tag. So now what I have right now is an obstacle. If you don't have any tags added, this will be empty. So to simply add in a tag, go click the plus symbol, and we're gonna add in a new tag. So I'm gonna call this, let's see, test for video. I'm gonna click save, and then we can go ahead and click obstacle 1 drop down box, and now we should have a new tag added. It should say test for video. We will do the same for obstacle 2. So drop down box again, test for video, and to confirm that both of them have it set, just navigate in the hierarchy. And then now that we have our 2 blocks set to those tags, let's go ahead and go back to the script, so Visual Studio, and now we can actually add in a collision gameObject tag, okay? So if collision at gameObject the tag, because this is going to be set to the tag that we created, so to equal symbol. Alright, so just to make sure, this is actually case sensitive, so we have our tag as set test for video with a capital T, capital F, and a capital V, okay? So that's what I'm going to put down in my script. Alright, now, what do we want to do? Well, earlier we wanted something to output in our console if we ever collided with our obstacles, alright? So let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm gonna do a print. It appears to be working. Now in C#, we'll print, and then the string will be with 2 speech marks, and then whatever you want to output. And we must, unlike Python, we will end this with a semicolon, alright? So let's go ahead and see what we're doing, okay? So let's go ahead and click play and see if that works, alright? So we've already set up the collision to move. Now if we actually collide with any of these obstacles, now go ahead and look at our console. It appears to be working. The same thing happens for either obstacle because we have set both of them to be the same tag, alright? So if you've got this down, you don't have to continue the video because all I'm gonna do from here on out is explain what we have done, alright? So congratulations, you have managed to set up collisions. Now this is pretty much just an extra. We'll explain how the code works, alright? So this is the code that has been pre-set up to move our player, so we don't have to worry about that because we are looking at the collision. This entire method here deals with what happens if our player collides with any obstacles. So in my case, we are detecting any game object with a tag test for video, which we have linked in our obstacles with test for video. So that we have managed to make it say it appears to be working in the console. So the print line will focus on the console, and that it has managed to work. As for the physics of the collision, so if we play it again, if you notice how it is moving our obstacles as we collide with it, well, that is not actually in the code. It is simply dealt with by the box colliders and the Rigidbody 2D. That is how we have managed to make it abide by the laws of physics if we collide with it. So, as you can see, there's not too much code done, aside from the actual collision in terms of the tag. But if you've got this down and everything seems to be working, that is all you have to do. So, you have managed to manipulate what happens when your player collides with a certain obstacle. Hopefully this video helped you out, and I will see you in my next programming video.